There were only a rare few that knew that Ling Han had not yet displayed his full abilities, because he had only used 2 flashes of sword chi, while his limit was actually 4. And only Ling Han knew that he had not yet stimulated Lone Wolf's blood, which would actually upgrade his battle prowess to yet another level. This was mainly because Ling Han's will was strong enough, so the influence of the Staff of Destruction on the battle was barely visible. This meant that Bailey Tengyun's attacks were mostly dependent on his own power, and he was on a lower level than Li Dongyue, so how could he possibly be a match for Ling Han? In this fierce battle and clash of the young generation, Ling Han was gradually gaining the upper hand. Hey! Hey! Even Jin Wuji hadn't had such an easy time fighting him. Right? Does that mean that Ling Han is even stronger than Jin Wuji? Someone exclaimed in shock. That can't be. The power behind every one of his attacks is inferior to Jin Wuji's, so how is it possible that he's stronger than Jin Wuji? Someone else immediately retorted. But why did Jin Wuji have such a hard time during his battle, yet Ling Han so easily got the upper hand? None of them knew about the fact that the Staff of Destruction had the ability to suppress the opponent's spirit. So of course they did not understand why Ling Han could easily suppress Bailey Tengyun when his attacks were obviously on a weaker level than Jin Wuji's attacks. They were still perplexed, even after much thought. Meanwhile, Bailey Tengyun had started thinking. The few people before me had obviously done Ling Han a favor. If I don't do the same, he may resent me. Moreover, I obviously can't get the first place anyways, so what difference is there between the 4th and 5th place? When his thoughts took this turn, he quickly drew his staff back and retreated. He said, Brother Ling is indeed very powerful. I forfeit. Damn, why was there another forfeit again? The spectators were just starting to get excited from watching the battle. How come this Bailey Tengyun did the same as those before him, giving up just like that? What kind of background did this Ling Han have, causing every opponent of his to do him favors like that? Ling Han stepped onto the 4th tournament stage, and he only had 3 opponents left ahead of him. Although he had expended a bit of energy battling Bailey Tengyun, he could still fight another battle. Ling Han gave a great leap and arrived on the 3rd tournament stage. Congratulations to Brother Ling for overcoming all difficulties to make it this far, Li Dongyue said to Ling Han before his expression grew serious, and he said, However, as a sign of my respect for Brother Ling, I will try my best in this battle. Please. Ling Han drew his sword and displayed a sword move in response. Li Dongyue gave a long hiss and prepared to use his little Xuanhuan hands, charging towards Ling Han in attack. Although he was barehanded, after learning this martial arts technique, once he began circulating origin power, his hands would be like finely forged iron, as firm as rock. Even sharp blades had no hope of causing injury to his hands, or at least the ordinary iron sword Ling Han was wielding had no hope of injuring his hands. Ding, 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 as the blade and the flesh of hand clashed, clanging noises continuously echoed out, and there were fiery sparks flying about from the point of contact between the hand and the blade. Li Dongyue was in the 9th layer of element gathering tier, so he exceeded both Bailey Tengyun and even Ling Han in prowess. Thus, after exchanging a few blows, Ling Han could actually feel numbness spreading through the hand he wielded his sword in. However, he had already learnt the Body of Dead Tree ability from the indestructible Heaven Scroll. So, this kind of damage did not affect him in the slightest. Ling Han shook his head. Such a clash of brute force would be non-conclusive unless one of the fighters had a power advantage or both fighters were evenly matched. Even if his body was tough and indomitable due to the Body of Dead Tree skill he had learnt, and thus avoided damage from the tremors caused by clashing with Li Dongyue, it was still absolutely pointless. He used the shocking electricity sword arts, and his 2 flashes of sword chi continuously danced, instantaneously turning his disadvantageous position back around. But the name of Li Dongyue was not famous from his talking big. He had managed to form 3 flashes of chi, and as his palms flew in an attack, it was obvious that his power was of a terrifying level. He had lost to Qi Yongye and Jin Wuji previously, simply because those 2 were even stronger than he was. His little Tianyuan hands was also a yellow-grade high-level martial arts technique, so Ling Han did not possess an advantage in terms of the grade of martial arts technique. In terms of power, he was weaker than Li Dongyue by a single layer of cultivation level, so faced with Li Dongyue's full power attacks, Ling Han gradually fell into a disadvantage. What's the matter? Technically, Bailey Teng Yun should be stronger than Li Dongyue, right? Ling Han had an easy time against Bailey Teng Yun, but why is he having such a tough time against Li Dongyue now? Could it be that Bailey Teng Yun had not tried his best just now? That's definitely the case. Otherwise, how would the current situation be possible? I really am curious now. What kind of background does this Ling Han have? Why is it that all his previous opponents had deliberately allowed him to win? All of the spectators were puzzled and extremely curious. Meanwhile, Ling Dongxing was frowning deeply. His son had defeated Bailey Teng Yun, so he should have been like an irresistible force, continuing his advance to obtain the third place. Yet, why was he in a disadvantage now against the weaker Li Dongyue? A hint of a smile appeared on the corners of Ling Han's lips. Looks like he would have to increase his abilities. With a wave of his long sword, 4 flashes of sword chi simultaneously appeared. Pooh! This time, all spectators choked. All of them were completely struck dumb. 4 flashes of sword chi. He actually had 4 flashes of sword chi. One has to understand that possessing 4 flashes of sword chi could be considered as a minor accomplishment. Such a person would deserve the name of a ruler, signifying that he could be invincible among those of a certain cultivation level. A 17-year-old ruler. Ling Dongxing was both astonished and elated. He turned to Liu Yutong and asked, "Honor has managed to form 4 flashes of sword chi. Did you already know about this?" Liu Yutong nodded. In truth, Ling Han had already managed to form 4 flashes of sword chi when he had only been in body refining tier, but this guy had not wanted to reveal his true talent and display his full prowess all this while. Thus, every time he revealed a bit more of his power, it was always enough to give a shock. Very good. Ling Dongxing heavily slapped his thigh, excitement filling his face. This stupid brat even kept his old man completely in the dark. See if I won't teach him a good lesson when we get back. Liu Yutong hid a smile. She knew that Ling Dongxing felt only joy now. How could he bear to reprimand Ling Han? No wonder his previous opponents had forfeited. This guy has apparently managed to form 4 flashes of sword chi. He could be named a ruler among those of the same cultivation level already. I had never really imagined that such a genius would actually emerge from within our Dayuan city. That's true. Among the 36 cities of Rain Country, the martial arts level of our Dayuan city has always been below average. But now there actually appeared a genius that has formed 4 flashes of sword chi from within our midst. He is indeed a source of pride for our city. When these 4 flashes of sword chi appeared, it generated a shock that spread through the whole area. Even the clash of the titans between the 4th Prince and Jin Wuji had paled in comparison as more and more people were drawn over, fighting to get a look at the indomitable might of 4 flashes of sword chi. Li Dongyue's face was full of bitterness. He had worked so hard on his cultivation these 3 years. Originally, he had thought that he would be able to get the first place in the Dayuan tournament this time. But he never imagined that his dreams would be shattered by the 4th Prince, causing him to realize that he had fallen behind those in his age range. And now, in a generation younger than his own, there actually appeared a freak that had successfully formed 4 flashes of sword chi, causing his confidence to suffer a severe blow. However, he immediately pulled himself together. As long as he managed to enroll into Huyang Academy, then his prowess would definitely be able to advance by leaps and bounds, and he'd be able to catch up to the 4th Prince and Jin Wuji. This person has a close relationship with 3 black-grade alchemists. Moreover, he's also managed to form 4 flashes of sword chi. Why don't I readily forfeit and do him a favor? Li Dongyue thought. The others have all done him favors, so if I don't, it might not look good. When he thought this, he immediately retreated, clasped his hands and said, "Brother Ling is indeed a genius to be able to form 4 flashes of sword chi at the mere age of 17. I am really deeply impressed by your achievements. There is no need to continue the battle. I forfeit. Damn. All of the spectators were depressed. This was the first time that they had seen a genius with 4 flashes of sword chi, and you actually won't fight for a bit longer, letting them enjoy watching to the fullest. Why did you forfeit so soon?